The plastic tube felt cold between my fingers. I stared at it under the bathroom's fluorescent light, watching my own saliva coat the inside of the collection vial. Such a simple thing. Spit in a tube, mail it off, wait 6 weeks for your ancestry breakdown. Everyone at the firm was doing it, comparing their percentages over lunch, joking about their inner Viking or secret Italian heritage. I sealed the tube. The click echoed louder than it should have. "It's just for fun," I whispered to my reflection. But my hands were shaking, and I couldn't explain why. That was March 14th, the day I murdered my own life without knowing it. For 38 years, I'd been Marcus Chen, son of Margaret and David Chen. The family resemblance was undeniable, or so everyone said. I had Mom's sharp cheekbones, Dad's analytical mind. We were the textbook Asian American success story. Immigrant parents, overachieving son, Sunday dinners, where we'd laugh about the same stories we'd told 100 times. The foundation felt solid, unshakable. Then came April 29th. I was in a deposition when my phone buzzed. The email subject line, "Your ancestry DNA results are ready." I should have waited. Should have opened it at home, with a beer, in private. But curiosity is a hungry thing, and I was stupid enough to feed it. I clicked. The pie chart loaded slowly, painfully slowly, each colored segment appearing like a judgment. And then I saw it. 0% East Asian. The room spun, my vision tunneled. Someone was asking me a question, the opposing counsel maybe, but their voice sounded like it was underwater, distorted and distant. 52% Ashkenazi Jewish, 31% Eastern European, 12% Scandinavian, 5% broadly European, 0% East Asian. I excused myself, barely made it to the bathroom before my legs gave out. The cold tile pressed against my palms as I gripped the sink, staring at my face, my supposedly Chinese face, in the mirror. Who the hell was I looking at? I didn't go home that night. Couldn't. Instead, I sat in my car in the parking garage for 3 hours, reading and rereading those results, refreshing the page like it might magically correct itself. The science was clear. DNA doesn't lie, but that meant someone else did. The drive to my parents' house took 22 minutes. I don't remember any of it. One moment I was in the garage, the next I was standing on their doorstep, my finger hovering over the bell. "What do you say?" "Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. Funny story. Am I adopted?" The door opened before I could decide. Mom stood there in her usual evening outfit, cardigan, slippers, reading glasses hanging from a chain around her neck. She smiled that warm, familiar smile that had comforted me through every childhood nightmare, every breakup, every crisis. "Marcus, what a nice surprise. Did you eat? I have leftover. Am I adopted?" The words came out raw, sharp, aggressive. Her smile froze, then slowly crumbled like a sandcastle hit by a wave. "Marcus." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Answer me." She stepped back. I followed her inside, my heart hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. Dad was in the living room, newspaper in hand, and when he saw my face, and then Mom's, he folded the paper with the careful precision of someone preparing for disaster. "Margaret," he said quietly. Mom sank into her chair. For a long moment, the only sound was the clock ticking on the mantel. The same clock that had marked every moment of my childhood. Tick, tick, tick. Each second felt like a small death. "You're not adopted," Mom finally said. Relief crashed through me, so intense I felt dizzy. Then she added, "David isn't your biological father." The room tilted, hard, What? Dad, David, he just sat there, hands folded in his lap, staring at nothing. He knew. Of course he knew. The way his shoulders sagged, the resignation in his silence. This wasn't news to him. Mom. My voice cracked, and I hated myself for it. Men aren't supposed to sound like that. Mom, what are you saying? She was crying now, tears streaming down her face, but I felt nothing. No sympathy. No urge to comfort her. Just a vast, howling emptiness where my entire identity used to be. There was someone else, she whispered, before David and I got married. His name was Joseph. Joseph Lieberman. Joseph Lieberman, a Jewish name. The Ashkenazi percentage suddenly made horrifying sense. We were engaged, Mom continued, each word seeming to cost her something. But my parents, they didn't approve. He wasn't Chinese. They threatened to disown me, so I broke it off, married David instead. He was everything they wanted, stable, Chinese, traditional. But you were pregnant. The words tasted like ash in my mouth. She nodded. 3 months. I didn't tell David until after the wedding. He chose to stay, to raise you as his own. I looked at David, at the man I'd called Dad for 38 years. He still wasn't looking at me, and in that moment, I realized he'd been looking at a lie too. Every time he saw me, did he see Joseph Lieberman? Did he see his wife's betrayal? Or did he somehow manage to see his son? Did you ever try to find him? I asked Mom, my voice hollow. Joseph. No. Why not? Because I made my choice, Marcus. I chose this family. I chose David. You chose to lie to me for 38 years. I was shouting now, standing up, backing away from both of them like they were strangers. Because they were. They were complete strangers wearing the faces of my parents. You let me believe, my voice broke. Every day, every birthday, every Father's Day card I gave him, you let me believe the lie. Marcus, please. Who am I? The question ripped out of me. If my entire life is built on a lie, who the hell am I? Mom reached for me, but I recoiled. The woman who taught me to throw a football, who stayed up with me through college all-nighters, who called me her little warrior. That woman was a liar, a coward. I left, walked out of that house, and didn't look back, even when I heard Mom calling my name, her voice breaking on each syllable. The next 3 weeks were a black hole. I called in sick to work, stopped answering my phone, lived on delivery food, and sat in my apartment staring at that DNA pie chart like it held the answers to existence. I created profiles on ancestry sites, reached out to DNA matches, third cousins, fourth cousins, people with names like Goldstein and Rosenberg and Cohen. My people, my actual people, strangers who shared my blood in ways my parents, David, never had. One match stood out. Rachel Lieberman, first to second cousin. I messaged her, explained the situation in clinical, detached terms like I was drafting a legal brief. I recently discovered through DNA testing that my biological father may be Joseph Lieberman. Do you know anyone by that name in your family? She responded within an hour. Joseph Lieberman was my uncle. He died in 2019. Heart attack. I'm so sorry. Dead. My biological father was dead and I'd never know him. Never get to shake his hand. Never get to ask him why he didn't fight harder. Never get to look him in the eye and see my own features reflected back. Never get to be angry at him or forgive him or anything. He was just gone. I didn't cry. Men don't cry over fathers they never met. That's what I told myself. But that night, alone in my apartment, something broke open in my chest. and once it started, I couldn't stop it. Sobbed until my ribs ached and my eyes were swollen. Mourned a man I'd never met. Mourned the son he'd never known. Mourned every missed moment, every stolen possibility. Rachel and I talked on the phone a few days later. She was kind, almost unbearably kind. Told me about Joseph, how he never married, never had other children, how he taught history at a local college and played piano and loved old movies. He used to talk about a woman he loved, Rachel said softly. Back in his 20s, said she was the one who got away. He never told us her name. Margaret Chen, the one who got away. Did he think about me? Wonder if she'd been pregnant. Imagine a son somewhere with his eyes. He would have loved to know you, Rachel said, and I wanted to believe her. Desperately wanted to believe that somewhere, in some alternate timeline, there was a version of my life where Joseph Lieberman was my dad, where I grew up hearing piano music instead of silence, where my identity wasn't a 38-year lie. But that wasn't my reality. This was. It took me 2 months to go back to my parents' house. Mom answered the door. She looked smaller somehow, fragile. She'd aged a decade in 8 weeks. Marcus, her voice cracked on my name. Can I come in? We sat in the living room, the same room where my world had shattered. David joined us, moving slowly, carefully, like he was afraid I might bolt. I'm not here to forgive you, I said, and watched Mom flinch. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I don't know. I understand, she whispered. But I need to know everything. The whole story. No more lies. And so she told me. Everything. The love affair with Joseph. The passionate, desperate, doomed love that her parents forbade. The pregnancy. The panic. The decision to marry David, who knew the truth and married her anyway. He loved me, Mom said, looking at David with something raw and broken in her eyes. Even knowing, he still loved me. David finally spoke, his voice rough. I loved you, Marcus. From the moment you were born, you were mine. Biology didn't matter. It matters to me, I said quietly. I know. He nodded. And I'm sorry. We should have told you. Should have given you the choice to know. The choice. That's what they'd stolen. Not just my biological father, but my right to know my own story. My right to decide who I was. Joseph died in 2019, I said, and watched Mom's face crumble. He never knew about me. She covered her mouth, a sob escaping. Good. Let her grieve. Let her live with that. But then I saw it. The same grief I'd been carrying. The same desperate, clawing regret. We'd both lost him. Both been robbed of something we'd never get back. And David, God, David. He'd lived 38 years, loving another man's child as his own. Never complained. Never threw it in Mom's face during arguments. Just loved me. Even when it must have hurt. Even when I probably looked exactly like the man his wife had loved before him. I don't know how to do this, I admitted, my voice small, vulnerable. Everything I'd been taught not to be. I don't know how to be your son when everything I thought I knew is gone. Then we figure it out, David said. Together, no more secrets, just truth. And time. Time. Maybe that was the only answer. Time to grieve. Time to rebuild. Time to decide who Marcus Chen, or Marcus Lieberman, or whoever the hell I was, wanted to be. It's been 6 months now since that plastic tube changed everything. I've met Rachel and her family, learned about my Jewish heritage, attended my first Passover Seder, felt a strange, unexpected belonging in synagogue, surrounded by people who share my DNA even if they don't share my history. I still see Mom and David. Weekly dinners, awkward at first, then gradually less so. We're learning each other again, rewriting the story with truth instead of lies. David's still Dad. That hasn't changed. Biology doesn't make a father, choice does. And he chose me. Every single day for 38 years, he chose me. Knowing I wasn't his blood, knowing I was living proof of his wife's first love, he still chose me. That's more than biology ever gave me. Mom and I are complicated. Some days, I look at her and feel nothing but anger. Other days, I see her as she was. A terrified 25-year-old caught between love and family, making an impossible choice. It doesn't excuse the lie, but maybe it explains it. I keep a photo of Joseph now. Rachel sent it. He has my eyes, my smile, my hands. It's surreal seeing my own features on a stranger's face. This man who helped create me, this ghost I'll never know. Sometimes I imagine what I'd say if I could meet him. Maybe I'd be angry. Maybe I'd forgive him. Maybe I'd just want to hear him play piano, or talk about history, or tell me about the woman he loved and lost. I'll never know. But I know this. Identity isn't just DNA. It's not just the people who raise you, or the culture you grow up in, or the lies you're told. It's every choice you make after you learn the truth. Every decision about who you want to become. The plastic tube didn't destroy my life. It freed me to build a real one. I'm Marcus Chen, son of Margaret and David Chen, 'cause that's who raised me, who shaped me, who loved me when it mattered. But I'm also the son of Joseph Lieberman, a man I never met, but who gave me half my DNA and all of my curiosity about who I could be. I'm both. I'm neither. I'm something entirely new, and that's terrifying, and painful, and somehow, impossibly, okay.